The man at the door wasn't the pizza guy, and he knew I was alone. Like this video if you've ever had a night you can't forget, and subscribe for more stories just like this one. Drop your hometown in the comments. Maybe next time your town's the one with a man at the door. I was 12 the first time my mom left me home alone overnight. Our little town was one of those places people bragged about. Safe streets, quiet porches, neighbors who waved but didn't ask questions. That night was supposed to be perfect. House to myself. Video games all night. Pizza for dinner. I was already on my third playthrough of Nightfire on my old PS2, reliving my little James Bond obsession. Around 8 o'clock, I ordered a pizza from Gianni's. It was this little, local place, 3 blocks from my house. A regular pie, nothing fancy. My mom, Diane, left me a 20 and told me to tip $4. I was feeling like a king. When the doorbell rang, I grabbed the money and headed down. The delivery guy was off. Late 30s, maybe. Greasy beard, thick glasses, a black trucker's hat pulled low. He handed me the box and his eyes drifted past me, into the empty house. "You alone here?" he asked. I froze. My mom had warned me about questions like that. I blurted out, "My parents are on their way home." But it was too late. I saw the flicker in his eyes. He knew. I slammed the door, locked it, and tried to shake it off. Ate 3 slices at the kitchen table while watching the hallway. I knew it was nothing. Except it wasn't. A few hours later, probably close to 11, the doorbell rang again. Thinking it was my mom and stepdad, I rushed downstairs. "Mom? Dad?" But a man's voice, low and unfamiliar, answered. "I need help. Please, let me use your phone." My stomach dropped. I didn't look out the window. I didn't answer. I turned and started back upstairs. "Wait, please, I just need help." The voice got louder. I made the mistake of glancing toward the front door. Through the glass at the top, I saw the shape of a man's head, tilted, watching me. He was staring right at me. I sprinted upstairs, heart slamming against my ribs, grabbed the phone in my mom's bedroom, and called her cell. She picked up, and I could hear music and voices behind her. Then her tone shifted when I told her what was happening. "Did anyone know you were alone?" she asked. I told her about the pizza guy. While we spoke, the man rang the doorbell again, twice. Then I heard it. The soft creak of the side gate. The one leading to the backyard. I told my mom, barely able to get the words out. She told me to lock myself in their room and stay on the line. Minutes crawled by. Then, footsteps. Inside, heavy, steady, moving through the kitchen. I whispered to my mom. She told me not to speak, not to breathe. The footsteps moved through the downstairs, then onto the stairs. I heard each step creak. Up, up. They passed my sister's room, then mine, then stopped. Right outside my parents' door. The doorknob jiggled, pressed again. A soft knock. I could feel the floor tremble beneath me. Another turn of the knob. Then nothing. The footsteps retreated. I waited, not moving, until my mom told me the police were outside. 2 officers came in through the back, the sliding glass door wide open. I unlocked the bedroom door when they called my name. They checked the house, but the intruder was gone. The officers asked for a description. I told them about the pizza guy. About the question at the door, about the greasy beard and the black trucker's hat. My parents came home an hour later. My stepdad, Ron, was ready to tear the town apart. The next night, we went to Gianni's. But the guy wasn't there. The manager said the man I described didn't work there. Said no one by that name was scheduled. We made a scene. We waited in the parking lot for over an hour. He never showed. The police never found him. No one was arrested. They said it was probably a drifter. But 2 weeks later, a plain pizza box showed up at our door. No note, no order, no delivery receipt. Just the box. Inside were 3 cold slices. The exact kind I'd ordered that night. My mom moved us out by the end of the summer, and I've never ordered delivery since. If you're still listening, like this video. Subscribe for more stories like this, the kind that don't end clean. Drop your hometown in the comments. Maybe you'll be next. March 2022. I was in my second year of college, and like most stressed out students, I needed an escape. So 6 of us, me, Matt, Chris, Tyler, Jess, and Sarah, rented a remote cabin in South Carolina for spring break. No school, no phones, no responsibilities. The place was stupid cheap for its size. 2 stories, a wraparound porch, a lake nearby. Private land, no neighbors. The online listing made it look like a rustic paradise. When we booked it, the owner gave us one odd warning over the phone in a thick southern drawl. Don't go wandering too deep in those woods. Some old things back there you don't want to find. We laughed it off, thought it was just part of the backwoods charm. We had no idea what we were walking into. The drive was endless. The GPS cut out an hour before we got there, and the road turned into nothing but dirt and gravel. Trees pressed in tighter, the forest swallowing up the light. When the cabin finally came into view, we went quiet. It didn't look like the pictures. Not even close. The wood was rotting, windows caked in dust, a few shutters dangled by rusted hinges. And there was this faint, sour smell, like wet wood and old garbage. We made nervous jokes, told ourselves it added character. We unpacked, picked rooms, cracked open some drinks, and by sunset, we were sitting around the fire pit, laughing too loud, music blaring through a Bluetooth speaker. We didn't know something was already watching us. The first night ended around 2 a.m. I crashed in a tiny room off the kitchen. Just a bed and a single window looking out into a wall of trees. At 4:15 a.m., I woke up. Not to a noise, but like someone had jabbed a cold finger into my spine. I laid there, my heart pounding. Then came the sound. Tap, tap. At first, I thought it was the heater. Then I realized it wasn't mechanical. It sounded like fingers. I looked toward the window, and there he was. A man, face pressed against the glass, pale skin, wild, matted hair, no shirt, just staring in, mouth hanging slightly open, eyes wide, unblinking. He wasn't trying to scare me. He was studying me. The tapping sped up. Tap, tap, tap. I whispered for Matt, who was passed out on the couch. Matt, Matt. He stirred. I pointed to the window. He looked, saw the figure, and leapt up, knocking over a coffee table. That must have startled the guy. By the time Matt flicked on the porch light and bolted outside, the man was gone. Everyone woke up. Jess was crying. Tyler grabbed a kitchen knife. Chris swore it was a drunk local messing with us. We blocked the doors, shoved the couch against the biggest window, and stayed up in shifts. Morning came, and outside, we found footprints. Bare, human. They circled the entire cabin, stopping at every single window, even the tiny one above the upstairs bathroom. It should have been enough to send us packing. But we were young, stupid, and stayed. The second night started the same. Drinks, fire pit, cheap beer. But the mood had changed. People kept glancing at the woods. Jess refused to drink. Chris wore a hunting knife on his belt. By 3:30 a.m., most of us had drifted to bed. Then Matt called my name from the hallway. I got up. He was standing still, pale, pointing toward the kitchen. And in the kitchen was the man. Inside, he was naked, skin raw and scratched, back covered in long, bleeding slashes. He stood in front of the fridge, gently swaying on his feet, like he didn't know what it was. Matt didn't speak. He just backed away. One by one, we gathered in the hallway, gripping whatever we could find: a chair leg, a pocket knife, a fire poker. We flicked on the kitchen light. He was gone. The back door hung open. Not broken, not forced, just open. We left 20 minutes later. No one argued. We grabbed our wallets, keys, and phones, leaving everything else behind. We drove through the forest until our signal came back and called the sheriff. At a diner off the highway, a deputy met us. He barely blinked when we told him what happened. "Yeah," he said. "We've had trouble out there. Folks squatting in those woods. Not all of them right in the head. We tried to explain this wasn't a homeless guy. This was something worse. Someone who came back. Who got inside." The deputy just gave us a look, like he already knew. When we mentioned the cabin's owner, his face twitched, a flicker of recognition. But he didn't say a word. The rental listing disappeared a few days later, wiped clean from every site we found it on. We never got a call, never got our deposit back, and we never went back to South Carolina. I still see his face sometimes. The way he looked at me through the window. A grin too wide, a gaze too empty. And I swear, some nights, when I wake up at 4:15 a.m., I can still hear it. Tap, tap, tap. When I was 17, my family moved from Southern California to the deep backcountry of North Idaho. My parents had just retired and built their dream home on a massive stretch of land, bordered on one side by national parkland and on the other by endless miles of logging grounds. It was the kind of house people fantasize about. 2 stories, floor-to-ceiling windows, a private gym, a pool room, and an actual movie theater set up in the basement. No neighbors, no streetlights, just miles of towering pines and complete, suffocating silence. At first, it felt perfect. But sometimes, the woods don't stay empty. It was a cold Friday night. My parents went out to a fancy dinner in town. leaving me alone with the house. I invited my girlfriend over. We cracked open a beer, teenage rebellion, and headed down to the basement theater to watch Gladiator. For a while, everything was normal. Popcorn, dumb jokes, the kind of night you don't remember years later because nothing happens. But then, something shifted. I couldn't explain it, but around midnight, this suffocating sense of dread washed over me. A primal instinct. My heart started pounding. My skin prickled. I kept glancing toward the large, uncovered windows behind us. Windows that opened directly onto a sea of darkness. It felt like something was watching us. After the movie, I walked my girlfriend upstairs to her car. The world outside was deathly quiet. No wind, no crickets, just a cold, empty night. She drove off. I turned back toward the house and remembered I'd left the movie room lights on. So I went back down. I flipped the switch and something outside the window caught my eye. A man, standing just a few feet from the glass. Filthy clothes, matted hair, skin stretched tight over his face. And the most disturbing grin I'd ever seen. His eyes wide, unblinking. In one hand, he held a long, rusted knife, and he was tapping it gently against the glass. Tap, tap, tap. I froze. Was I imagining this? A trick of the dark? No, he was real. I backed away, heart thundering in my ears, and moved into the bar room to shut those lights off too. That room had a sliding glass door leading into the backyard. I switched the light off, and there he was again. The same man, the same grin. Less than a foot away now, separated only by thin glass. He didn't move, didn't try to open the door, just stood there, watching. I bolted upstairs. As I reached the main floor, my parents walked through the door. I told them, I swear to God, I just saw a guy with a knife staring at me through the window. My mom went pale. My dad didn't say a word. He went straight to the gun safe. They called the police. But by the time they arrived, there was no sign of anyone. No footprints, no broken branches, no anything. The woods swallowed him whole. Weeks passed. I told myself it was a hallucination, stress, isolation, until winter came. One night, while I was home alone again, a slow, heavy crunching sound echoed outside. Footsteps in the snow. Our Rottweiler Brutus, a sweet, lazy dog, bolted upright, growling low, his hackles raised. Then came a knock, a slow, taunting knock on the front door. I didn't move. I grabbed the shotgun my dad left for emergencies, locked myself in my room, and waited. At dawn, I went outside. There were fresh footprints circling the entire house, stopping at every single window, as if someone had been watching, searching. They led off into the trees. I followed them. Half a mile in, they vanished, zigzagging, doubling back, like the person wanted to lose anyone following them. I didn't go any farther. Something told me I shouldn't. That night, the tapping returned. Soft at first, then louder. I stepped onto the second-story deck, shotgun in hand, and flipped on the backyard floodlights. There he was. Same man. Same demented grin. Same dead, hungry eyes. He held the knife again, tapping it against his leg, staring directly at me. I raised the shotgun. Leave or I'll drop you where you stand. He didn't flinch, didn't move. I fired a warning shot into the air. This time, he staggered, just slightly, before slowly backing into the trees, eyes never leaving mine. I sprinted downstairs and let Brutus loose. He exploded into the trees like a missile, snarling and barking, his collar beeping faintly. I don't know if he caught the man, but from that night on, the tapping stopped. The footsteps vanished. And though I never saw him again, I don't sleep with the windows uncovered anymore. And I never, ever trust the woods at night. Because some things don't need a reason. Some people watch simply because they can. And sometimes they come back.